with just business, and I'm sure with merchants, and dealing with PayPal and.
Yeah, it's so much. Like, where you want to start? We can go all day.
Yeah, I want to go to PayPal. What issues have you had with PayPal?
Well, okay. So with PayPal, the thing with them, they're the number one, merchant. Everybody knows what PayPal is. So if you're starting a business, you're gonna of course start with PayPal. But what people don't know is once you make a certain amount of money, they're gonna freeze your account. So once we were making all that money, they would freeze our account and just have that money stuck, which would lead us to a point to where it's like, dang, do we just stop production? Like, how do we get past this? So we had to keep figuring out how to get
freeze it for how long?
180 days.
Why?
And then put you on a rolling reserve. Rolling reserve.
You had that same problem?
No, I remember you told me.
Yeah, that's
so they freeze your account for making too much money for 180 days. In those 180, do you get to speak to a rep? And
you can, but they're just gonna tell you to wait. They're gonna tell you how much longer you got in that 180 days.
Yep.
So why does it happen again if they see now that your account is?
People don't know, but PayPal makes interest off that money. So imagine if you hold in 20, 30 different companies, hundreds of thousands of dollars for 180 days. Imagine how much money that is in interest for you as a company. But they banking on you folding as a company. Who can last 180 days with their money locked up?
Nobody.
So what? That's just something. So I need help understand. So this is something that's just in the terms and agreement that we don't know. That if you make
something in the
believe it or
terms
not,
and
it
conditions.
is.
Yeah.
So it says if you make.
No, it's not gonna word it like that.
No.
But they'll find a reason to lock your money. Oh, you're making too much money. It's a spike in sales, and we kind of concerned. So let's freeze your money up until we get to the bottom.
But they still let new sales come in.
Oh yeah,
and they hold that money.
Yep.
Wow.
So you got to kind of play how you want to play.
So you need to have a secondary account
and guess
to re-up merchandise to keep those sales coming.
And guess what that secondary account gonna be? Stripe. So when you go to Stripe, guess what they gonna do? The same thing. They gonna let you make your money and they gonna freeze it. So now you got to figure out how we gonna maneuver past Stripe.
So how much has to come in for them to freeze you?
It's hard to say. I would say honestly, if you make about 1,000 a day, you'll be okay. But if you keep going to 5,000 a day, or if it goes from 500 to 5,000 a day, freeze. And now you got to figure out what you're gonna do. Your following day might be 10,000. So now you got $15,000 stored in PayPal, not knowing how you're gonna get it.
And they're gonna freeze that next 10,000. And most new up and coming entrepreneurs, they're not thinking in their right mind. They're panicking. So they're allowing those sales to still come in while PayPal is locking their accounts up. And most people are using the money that's coming in for shipping to buy more supplies, and some people
marketing
and so on and so forth. So that is their lifeline. And while they're thinking about what their next plan gonna be, sales are still coming in. Remember that sales are. This is day 1, 5,000. Day 2, 10,000. Day 3 might be another 5,000. So that's 20,000 locked up.
Right.
Day 4 might be another 10. So that's 30.
But look, this the part. So every day you have money come in and they reset the 180 days. So if you let 30 days go by, you just prolonged your 180 days constantly.
Because you let more money in.
Yes,
more money
because
in.
it's
so you need
day.
to stop your account.
You have to. And figure out how you going to sustain as a business.
What was your workaround? Obviously, this happened how many times did they freeze your account?
We had to make so many different accounts.
We're banned
to the point
from PayPal.
Yeah. I can never make another
banned,
PayPal.
I'm banned, and anybody who associates with us, banned.
Yeah, it's bad.
But again, how many times did they freeze your account before you guys said, all right, we need to find a new alternative?
We worked with them for a while because if you think about it, man, PayPal has so many things integrated. You're able to integrate them with so many different platforms. It's easy. Like it's a 10-minute setup. Boom, boom, boom. You're going. And they pay out. When they pay you the next day. It's very convenient. Not to mention me and him can do some in-person stuff. He could pay me through PayPal. So it's convenient in a lot of different ways. So it was hard for us to let PayPal fully go because it was just so convenient. And then we won about 8 out of 10 disputes.
Yeah.
So even with the dispute percentage is high. With Stripe, I hate Stripe all the way around. You're not gonna win a dispute at all. We won maybe 2 out of 10.
What did you have to dispute? This is so bad.
No. So a customer, any online business, you're gonna deal with this.
Like you deal with a customer that wanted a refund.
Well,
or they might get their product and they just want to read. That's just the world that we live in. Like it's so much fraud going on. It's hard to really, stop it. So you're gonna deal with disputes. But the thing with Stripe, they don't side with the merchant. They side with the customer.
Right.
But again, how many times before y'all said, man, we out? We not fucking with
remember,
PayPal.
we created a lot of different accounts. So I would say when we decided to be out was when they just banned our IP.
Yeah, it was
shit.
it's to the point where they ban you.
So then what alternative did you find?
It got to that point.
Yeah. At that point, you got to move. You got to reset your IP.
Think about it, bro. We had a business to run, not a business. We had multiple. Like at one point, I think we was running like 6 different e-commerce businesses, bro. Like we would be at the office. We left when I seen them falling asleep, or when I was falling asleep. We wouldn't. Our office was
like our house. Yeah,
yeah. It was everything to us. We raised his puppy up there. Like the office was a tough place for us to leave. So at one point, fully, we had about 6 different e-commerce businesses running off of PayPal and different merchants. So we needed them. Like we needed them. Not to mention they had a lot of our money locked up. A lot. So I wasn't trying to lose sight of it. He wasn't trying to lose sight of it. And the other guy that one of our friends that we had our tech business with wasn't trying to lose sight of it. So we wanted to stay locked in with them. And then people at PayPal treat you like, bro, like shit.
Like,
yeah, they did us dirty.
Yeah,
man.
I wasn't on. Yeah, I'm not. Y'all talking about $10,000 a day, so I never. Had an issue.
That was a low end. Like
I hear you, but that's still a high end for me. So I've never had an issue with them. I've been doing them for about 10, 12 years, and
no hiccups.
Nah,
Dang,
like
but honestly speaking, I only receive. And it ended up being more like a savings. Like, there's very low overhead. Now there's overhead because I'm here. But like when I started this, it was a hobby. I was in another room in my house. I turned it into an art. So there was very low overhead. You know what I mean? So I was just receiving from my audience on PayPal or whoever I was on a 1099 for. They would pay me through PayPal. It wouldn't be like you guys, that it's a consistent 20 million different IPs coming in, with purchases from your business. So it's totally different.
And PayPal knows their customers. They knew like the companies that was ours. They knew like it. Man, it was to the point where like we'll be calling them, sitting on the phone with them for hours, and then acting like other people. Like call himself on 3-way and act like somebody else do. It was to the point where we were doing anything and everything to keep on their good side, whether it's just entering tracking numbers before the stuff was being shipped out, like just doing everything in our power to appease these people, and nothing. Like when they just like, no, you guys are done. They said.
So then, where'd you go?
We had to get our own merchant, so we had to go through the bank to get a merchant. Eventually, once you make a certain amount online, like I said, everybody gonna just X you out, and then you're gonna have to go get your own merchant.
Yeah.
And how was that experience?
Honestly, we should have started there.
Yeah.
If we would have known better,
they didn't care. They didn't care about paying you. They didn't care about the amount.